For Higgins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. 70% of Australians aged 16 years and over have met the call to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. With such a tremendous effort and more milestones to come, will the Prime Minister outline to the House how the Morrison Government's national plan for reopening is working by putting restrictions like lockdowns behind us so we can safely live with the virus?
The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I thank the member for Higgins for her question and her constant advice when it has come to managing the issues of the pandemic, given her great experience, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, it is great news for Australia. 70% of Australians aged over 16 have been fully vaccinated. Our full vaccination rate now, Mr Speaker, is in excess of the United States, and indeed our first dose vaccination rates have not only passed the European Union, countries like Germany and so on, Mr Speaker, and Israel. Within days we will also pass on first dose vaccinations the United Kingdom as well. Mr Speaker, in Victoria in particular, and in Tasmania, they will go through that 70% gate in the next 24 hours, joining New South Wales and the ACT as Australia's vaccination rate surge to what we expect will be, Mr Speaker, one of the highest vaccination rates of anywhere in the world. Now, Mr Speaker, that has been a great effort by Australians, and I thank Australians for keeping their side of the deal of the national plan, which said go out and roll up your sleeve, Mr Speaker, and we will get through this together, Mr Speaker. And that is what Australians have been doing. They have been keeping their side of the deal of the national plan, and that has been enabling them not just to have saved lives, Mr Speaker, saved more than 30,000 lives over the course of this pandemic, not only just to have one of the strongest economic performances throughout the course of the pandemic, but, Mr Speaker, as we now move towards having one of the highest rates of vaccination around the advanced world today. Now, Mr Speaker, that means the Melbourne lockdown will end on Thursday night as a result of the national plan, Mr Speaker. It means that in New South Wales and the ACT, the lockdown has already come to an end, Mr Speaker. It means restaurants and cafes and pubs open, Mr Speaker. It means the barbers, Mr Speaker, and the hairdressers will be able to fix many of the home cuts that have been done during lockdown, Mr Speaker, over the last few months. I know there's plenty of people looking forward to that. Mr Speaker, live theatre is open again in Sydney now. Hamilton is back on the stage, Mr Speaker, and in the middle of November, Harry Potter will return to the stage in November as the national plan takes effect. Kids are back at school. They're going back to school, Mr Speaker, and what's great, kids are getting together again. They're having play dates. They're having sleepovers again, Mr Speaker. That's what the national plan has been designed to deliver. And in Queensland, Mr Speaker, I welcome the fact that they're opening their borders again in December. I welcome the fact that they're introducing home quarantine for people returning to Queensland. But, Mr Speaker, there are 8,000 Queenslanders who need to be able to get home, Mr Speaker, and have access to home quarantine. And I encourage the Queensland Government further down that path, as I also do in South Australia and in Tasmania. Mr Speaker, Australia is opening up because of their great efforts. Thank you, Australia.